So what if the Tournament of Power was rigged from the start? Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now I would like to begin today's discussion video by posing a question to you all. What do universes 6 and 7 have in common exactly? If your answer was that they are twin universes, then you would be correct. But in this context, not so. If you were to say the fact that Beerus and Champa, the gods of destruction from those universes, are twins, then you'd also be correct, but given the context of the situation as well, if you stripped them away from their universes, you wouldn't have that. Well, I don't know, Masako. I guess Saiyans, Super Dragon Balls, the Frieza clan people? I'm still hoping that they actually get a proper name one of these days. And maybe those Namekians that was revealed recently? You know, that new cornucopia of Namekians? But Masako, you've done a video about the Super Dragon Balls already. What on earth have Namekians got to do with them? Well, first off, remember your Dragon Ball lore. And also, Namekians don't live on Earth, silly. They live on New Namek. I mean, okay, a couple of them live on Earth, but that's of their own choosing. And yes, I did do a video about Zarama and the Super Dragon Balls recently, but all of that research and talking with Havrok got me thinking, you know? There must be more to it. I started to think about why Zarama chose those two universes specifically to be the hosts of his precious Super Dragon Balls. They are the only places that you can find those orbs, or even the regular Dragon Balls, and these things have been pretty much routine to us since day one. If you were in any of the other universes, Dragon Balls, if you heard of them at all, would have been a complete and utter legend. A complete and utter fantasy. Something that was foretold to be a great myth. Not a reality in Universe 7, they've pretty much become a commodity, something you just go down to the shops for going, "Hey Chi-Chi, let's go down the shops for some Dragon Balls, you want anything?" What am I kidding? I don't shop! And okay, come on. You cannot say that there is no connection whatsoever with these Dragon Balls and these bad boys. And yes, of course, there have been rumors and mutterings about the fact that, oh, Namekians may have shaved some bits off the Super Dragon Balls to make their own ones in some other publications, but that's not really been elaborated on lately. It's not something you can get your teeth stuck into. Until we can actually see any kind of scuff marks on those Super Dragon Balls to actually confirm this notion, then yeah, that we can just move that to the side. Now all of this makes you wonder, all the things about Namekians making Dragon Balls and Zarama making Dragon Balls, is there some kind of link between the two? Well, there might be, and it all has something to do with a French folklore legend, the Loup Carcol. Sometimes this creature is usually just referred to as the Carcol. It's a cross between something like a serpent and a mollusk. Yes, I know a mollusk doesn't really sound intimidating, but yeah, have you seen the slug trails on those things? I don't make up mythical creatures for a day job, so who am I to complain? Yes, we need to look for a more elaborate description, and here it is. Its massive and long body carried an enormous shell upon its back, much like a snail shell, that was believed to live in underground caverns in southwest France. Its gaping mouth was surrounded by several long, hairy, and slime-covered tentacles that could extend for miles. These appendages stretched out from the cave it inhabited for a long distance and laid upon the ground among its own vicious slime. They would ensnare and drag back to its abode anything within reach. It would then swallow the victim whole with its gigantic mouth. Yikes, not exactly the most humble of creatures now, is it? Pretty foreboding and intimidating, you would say. Could that describe Zarama? The term is also used to describe the French city of Hastingue, something that resembles the city shape. It's basically nestled atop a really round-shaped hill. That and men of the domain would usually warn young women and girls that if they were to step out of line, then be careful, the Carcol will come and get you. Man, what a bunch of jerks. But Masako, we're talking about snails and serpents, not snails and dragons. I just want to shift your attention to two things worth noting. First, in many languages, there is not a different word between slugs and snails. They're usually the same thing and using the same word. Sometimes the best way to describe a slug is like a naked snail. They're pretty closely related, so you may as well just use the same word, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. And secondly, serpents and dragons have very close relationships when it comes to myths and fairy tales and such. And from a Western perspective, they see it from the Eastern side to be basically one and the same thing, because sometimes you see dragons that are like snakes, like Shenron for example, with very small appendages, so they're very closely linked. All those Chinese dragons, they are very snake-like. So what I'm trying to get at here is that there really might be a close connection between Zarama and the Namekians that we've grown to love. serpents and mollusks. And remember, the term Namekian is derived from the Japanese word for snail. That is there, and that's the reason why Namekians are basically slug people. Many eons ago, maybe Zarama was part of the Namekian tribe. They may have been one and the same, closely linked, having that relationship. But then again, nowadays, after many millennia and many generations, this fact may have been forgotten by the Namekian race that they share this link with one of the gods of creation. How on earth could this random race be able to make their own Dragon Balls if they did not have a connection with Zarama? Do you really think that the Dragon Clan, the people like Kami and Dende, could make Dragon Balls if they didn't have the influence from Zarama in the first place? They must have found it odd that, oh, how can we make these wish-granting orbs just because? It might be more than just Zarama being an ancient Namekian. He could have been one of their ancient ancestors from another race. He could have actually just split himself into two. One remained Zarama, and the rest became the beginnings of a Namekian tribe. It's not entirely far-fetched if you think about it, because Namekians can split and fuse together at any time. The nameless Namekian, for example, many years ago, he split himself into Kami and King Piccolo. And if a common Namekian can do that, just think of what, Zarama could do. He could basically make races, multiple people. He could split himself into dozens of people, as many people as he needed to, for any kind of purpose he would desire. But then again, Masako, wait. Namekians don't look like dragons, though. Where on earth are you going to find Namekians that resemble dragons in any kind of what? Oh. Aren't they supposed to be mutants? Isn't that what they were described as in that lore? That might be true, but one important thing that we have to remember here is that Toriyama likes to write by the seat of his pants, improving as he goes along. But over time, Toriyama's ideas for the characters would have evolved, and as we saw near the end of Dragon Ball, we began to realize that maybe Kami and King Piccolo were perhaps, not from around here. Piccolo's children could be callbacks to proto-Namekians back in the day when they were more closely linked to Zarama. Maybe these dragon creatures closely resemble Zarama. We might have had this for the longest time since Dragon Ball began. They might take inspiration from Piccolo's children. Or if you want to make it quite narrative or descriptive or mythical, something about the evilness of Piccolo triggered a regression in appearance. Another theory could be that Namekians would have been created by Zarama to act as bodyguards for the Super Dragon Balls in universes 6 and 7. The reason why there are only Namekians in those universes. Zarama could have created these guys, or he could have bestowed the power upon them. We don't really know. We need to learn more. I highly doubt that Zarama would have created the Super Dragon Balls if he knew they were going to be used for such nefarious purposes as being just some kind of trinket prize for the Tournament of Power. Not only that, but it's kind of horrific and dangerous to use such powerful tools for such a frivolous game. The GP can appease Zeno's lust for destruction by just giving him what he wants. This all brings us back to the Tournament of Power and something quite important yet seemingly insignificant when you first saw it. There is an item that poses a challenge for our way of thinking. Remember Oboni's locket? It was erased along with Universe 10, which implies that anything that is connected to that universe goes along with it. And yeah, if you're thinking, Universe 6 was erased, where did the Super Dragon Balls go? What happens with the Super Dragon Balls? 3 of them come from Universe 6. If Universe 6 is truly destroyed, then they should go with it. I mean, do they have some kind of power? Have they been negated? Maybe they're not been destroyed at all? Universe 6 and every other universe that's been erased is just somewhere else? So that means they still exist? Somewhere? Now, in a regular situation, things would have been really awkward. So say one of the teams wins the prize and then half the prize isn't there, so they can do nothing with it. So what do you do then? Well, here comes the Grand Priest again. We know that he's a very intelligent being, much more so than the likes of Zeno. It's pretty safe to guess that the Grand Priest has been manipulating Zeno the entire time. Who's to say that the Grand Priest won't just do the following? Hey, Lord Zeno, we're going to need those Super Dragon Balls again, so we might need to bring back Universe 6 so we can make the wish. Oh, and oh yes, how about while we're at it, bring back all the other universes, so that means they can see the wish taking place. It'd be nice for them to do that just for a few minutes though, yeah? And I think the Zenos would go along with that, because they got the destruction that they wanted, so anything else is just like, yeah, sure, whatever. And it also throws something that the Grand Priest that was thinking about into sharp relief. He knew that the winners would be either Goku or Jiren. Something about their characters makes him think that, oh yeah, they're going to win and they're going to fall into what exactly I want. Because their ultimate goals are probably the same when it comes to the Super Dragon Balls and what the Grand Priest wants to do. Many people believe that Goku will use his wish, either willingly or reluctantly, to bring everyone else back that was destroyed and therefore restoring balance. Merge every single universe into one, so therefore solving the whole too many universes problem that Zeno had. And I think Jiren would pretty much do the same thing. And also, more importantly, it makes sure that the Grand Priest becomes the top dog, because if there's only one universe, Zeno can't destroy anything anymore, so thusly, his position is rendered completely and utterly worthless. But does he care? Probably not. He could just go off and play. What backs this up even more is that the Grand Priest has envied Universe 7 for the longest time. Right from the beginning of the arc. In fact, before the arc even began. I think the GP has been forming this plan for a very long time, and the way that Goku just brought back future Zeno from the future, and the fact that Universe 7 could be useful, and the good nature of Goku would actually fit well with his intentions, and that means he can finally begin his plan. He would be able to save the universes ultimately from destruction. He also has a fondness towards the lower universes when it comes to the mortal levels, something that I talked about in my mortal level video that you can find a link to in the description and up top. And as for the top 4 universes, he's not exactly friendly with them, leaving them to clear up the stadium after they had a little bit of a sparring match. In short, the GP is hacking the system. He gets to choose the prize, in this case the Super Dragon Balls, coming from either Universe 6 or 7, one of them guaranteeing to win in his own judgment, and either that or Universe 11 will go to the final, wish upon the Super Dragon Balls to bring everyone back, and then his plan is complete. All of this to give Zeno a distraction, keep them entertained, whilst basically taking away their usefulness all in one go. The Gods of Destruction can deal with the day-to-day stuff about their destruction. Zeno doesn't really have to do anything, so yeah, he is a lame duck deity. So really, I think we can say that the GP isn't a bad guy, but yeah, he plays dirty. The only spanner in the works that I can really think of right now is Frieza. If he became the MVP and got the wish on the Super Dragon Balls, things could then become utterly devastating. And if that throws some peril into the arc, then I don't necessarily mind that. Speaking of his plan, it's been staring us in the face for the longest time, for over a year. Ever since episode 67, the writers and the GP have been thinking about this plan and presenting it to us without even knowing. Not only that, but he's about to buck the system and upset the 4 universes that he has real contempt for. He's going to have a whale of a time in the Tournament of Power. Everything is about to be turned on its head, and it all begins with the shrinking of the bleachers, bringing everyone together just the way he wants it, presenting it that it's Zeno's idea, and Zeno just goes along with it. But the Grand Priest, he's beginning to say, oh yeah, you're going to get what's coming to you, universes 1, 5, 8, and 12. But then again, how can he be so sure that Goku and Jiren will win the tournament? There are still 6 other fighters that will win. Maybe this might be his hubris showing. As we've seen time and time again in Super, the gods are way too pompous and sure of themselves. Remember Gowasu? Gods have been shown to be wrong. Maybe their Grand Priest is also wrong. And something that he didn't expect will happen, such as Frieza winning the Super Dragon Balls and throwing the complete god hierarchy into complete disarray. It'll all go absolutely tango uniform. This rigging plan of the Grand Priest is far from secure, but it is there. So what do you guys think? Do you think the tournament is rigged, or do you think we're reading into it too much? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!